Hello and welcome. My name is Tris and this channel is Double O'Neill, and it's about model railways and my journey in doing it. I've been learning about the hobby for a little while now. I've been involved with it since I was tiny, but I've had masses of years off, like many of you who've rediscovered it. And you're looking at it thinking, what's all this? What's static grass? How does it work? That looks scary. And over these videos that you've probably watched, if you've been following me so far from series 1, now we're in series 2, done a lot of episodes, and you've seen, let's say, my development within learning what I need to do. Maybe I've got worse at this, who knows? But I've been able to learn about static grass, brass kits, all these different little bits and bobs that I've seen that my dad's doing, and that makes me interested. Learning how to lay track. Maybe I still haven't figured it out right yet, but as you do these things and you're having a go, it's becoming so enjoyable and you feel like you're improving, you've gained that confidence and you want to do something else as well. And that's all part of it. You don't even have to be very good at what you're doing. You just have to be enjoying it. That's what the hobby's about, enjoying it. So don't be daunted if you see some articles in a magazine that makes you think, I don't even want to try that. No, I don't think that's what that's all about. Have a go. Make a mess. And if it looks terrible, fine. Well, that's your terribleness, and it's great, because I've done a number of things and I think it's not very good, but it's the best I could do. And if I have another go, it will be better. And each time you have a go at something, I'm sure it will improve each time. So this episode, what is it all about? There's two main things on this. We have my dad's layout. I was able to see him, which is absolutely wonderful, due to things opening up and being able to travel a bit further than my local area, which was very, very nice. As well as the work that I've been doing on my layout. I've been building up one side of it a lot more than I had before, and with picking one side is great, but then you can't just get that side done in one go. You need to then start breaking it up into chunks and working on that. So I've been working on one of the corners where the curves come in from the lift out section and then go to the bridge. My view is that I'll start focusing on that now that I have the banks and embankments all built up. I can work on the track work now, laying it in a way that I have the radiuses how I want, and we'll go through that in the following video. But after that video, hopefully you'll stick around and see my dad's layout. And going down there, we've seen the vast work he's done on that. You might not think it's much from the last one, but it is a lot. He's improved lots of things, like with the lift out section, work on the banking, and just some novel ideas that he's been working on. So that's excellent. As well as we've got some running shots, some particularly interesting looking locos going around the layout. So that was enjoyable to see. So I'll be having these little clips coming in over this episode. So first we'll go and jump up into the loft and we'll look at what we've been up to, and I'll talk you through it, as I enjoyed this. As part of this, I then ran a 5,000 subscribers live stream, which was really, really fun. And I ran, actually, one time I had 2 panniers pulling about 50 wagons. It was really enjoyable, and yeah, really good fun. So thanks for you that joined. That was really good fun. I've had a lot of good feedback in the comments, and yeah, thanks for joining us. Anyway, let's go up there now and have a look at what I got up to. I need to look at the lift out section, and on these 2 bits I've got my copper clad PCB boards, which I chopped out to then have those sleepers. I need to add that to this single one, and then I need to arc around here. I want to create this like shallower radius, go around here, but I need to start with a radius. So I'm going to start with the 4, but ultimately I need to move some things around. Lifting these bits off, when we're going to be leaning over and work on it, I need to make some room for myself. So knowing where I've been to create a reference and know where to end up, I've just got a pencil and work my way around the track so I know, well, what is my starting point. And with that, it allows me to just make some better decisions. I want to end over there, and I want to start the curve starting here, because I've got a bit of straight section here and it goes on for about 4 inches. I want to make it kind of almost just 1 inch, let's say, and we'll see if I generate any problems later on. So it's going to be quite simply done now. I'm going to put another PCB board, or let's say some copper clad sleepers, onto here, and I last made some of these, must have been kind of like 12 months ago, maybe 14. I know I started playing with making a load for people at the time, which was really good fun. And it's quite simple. They're used to be for the rigidity of the board. You'll see later on when my dad's a bit more about these. And you solder them on. To make things all easier, I use the DCC Concepts flux that they sell, as well as their solder. It seems to work reasonably well. It sticks really well, especially with the flux on there. It just takes brilliantly. So I put that on. You obviously touch it onto the areas that you want it to be done, and it's great. It honestly is great. And I love soldering. There's something really peaceful about it, and I don't seem to have too much trouble with it. With a decent iron, you normally go reasonably well, and the iron that I've got's very good. It's by a company called LRP Electronics from Germany, so I like to use their iron. Heats up very quickly and does the job. I don't feel like you're getting everything really hot just to get the solder to flow. So I just introduce the right amount here because I feel underneath nicely. And that's that, soldering done. Though we will be adding some joins later on for the contacts going down to underneath. So because it's got a hole in it, I'll be screwing that down in the, let's say, roughly the right position. The idea is that I'll screw it down, work out what I'm going to do, match what is like a 4th radius, which is pretty important, and then I'm going to introduce that shallower curve later on, so it's not continuing the 4th, so it takes longer to get there. So if you look here, we've got the 4th radius, and I'm thinking, right, we need to match that to begin with. Start getting around the corner, and it'll be good. It means the one on next to it on the right hand side that you see there, that's going to become, let's call it a 5th radius, which will be really good. With that now marked out, I can kind of overlay and see what's happening, and then it's going to go into that, let's call it 5th or 6th radius, and teeter off until it comes dead straight, which would be really good. So I'm happy with that. I'm thinking, right, I know what I want to do. So I'll whack in some of these railway screws, and I first learned about these from Budget Model Railways, and you just go on eBay, look up model railway screws, and you'll find these. There's loads of them on there, and for the price they're fine, and you can reuse them, which is wonderful. As I work my way around, it's quite simple, screwing it in bit by bit, and this allows me to then mark around it with a permanent marker. The reason I'm going to use the screws is because eventually I'm going to copy dex all of this onto the cork, and once it's dry I can remove most of the screws. I'll probably keep the screws closest to the lift out section, but ultimately I'll take out most of them and it will look better for it. So the permanent marker, nice and easy, run it along the edge and I'll know exactly where to put the cork. Off it goes round, and here it is. Next step is to do the next one, and with the use of a gauge that I made, let's call it September last year, maybe August. It's a 50mm offset from the inside one, so then I can generate my natural radiuses as it goes round, and bit by bit I'll screw it down and I'll generate what will be an equal curve going all the way round. Again, I'll probably be marking on this, but you'll see it, and it allows me to then stick the cork down in the right place. So I'm obviously going to have to take this back off, and you'll be thinking, oh, all that effort, but it just means that it'll be right. So when you do put the cork down, it's in the correct place. Off the marking goes, and I'm just checking with some coaches just to make sure that it's not going to foul and there's nice clearance. I've still not got the nicest of angles, curves compared to what some other people's layouts have, but I don't have as much room as some other people, so I'm quite happy having what is something bigger than a 4th radius for the layout. What I'm doing here is I'm cutting my cork that I'd already trimmed the width of a track in half, and this allows me to go around a corner, and that makes life a lot easier than using big sheets and hacking out all these curves. It means that I can use some copy decks and I can start laying that down. And the copy decks works out really nicely because when you use PVA glue, you kind of stick it on and hope it's not going to lift or anything like that. Whereas with copy decks, I find it's like a nice stable thing to use for gluing. So we'll put it on and I let it dry for just a little bit, and I'll stick on the the cork. I did, whilst doing this, leave it a little bit too long because I got busy doing some other things, so it did dry out a bit. But when you're using copy decks on two sides of something and then sticking it down, it sticks like super glue with activator. It's instant, it's excellent. But even like this, it works really, really well, and it's fine. And if you're not happy, you can put a weight on it, with it being wet underneath, but it will honestly be really, really good. I have in the past used kind of track pins just to pin these things in place, but ultimately really, really pleased with how nicely this works, and it sticks really well, and you haven't had to wait hours and hours for the PVA glue to dry in a cold environment or whatever. So that's the wonderful thing. After where we have the two curves, I needed to put what I felt was up to the bridge amount of track, so just so that finishes this point, I can finish that, and then I'm going to use set track from that point onwards to go over. Again, using the copy decks, it goes on. I don't need to cut half and half this time. I can just put on a straight piece of straight with the full width available to it. So as that goes over, that sticks on really, really nicely. And I can come away thinking, yeah, this bit's making progress. Because that's the thing with this side. Once this is done, I can then add ballast and more grass and fences. But what I want to do before putting any more track on, add a bit of super elevation, and use a tiny bit of 16th cork right on the outside to generate that little bit of angling from for the coaches as they go around, like in real life, because it kind of looks cool as well when it's been done. So I put this on and actually trim off a little bit of the excess. And after that, it's let's stick the track down. So I'm using copy decks wherever the track's touching, and that will basically hold on to it. Once I've backed those screws off, it should be fine. But I think I'm going to keep the screw, which is on the copper clad bit, because I think that's more important, because we don't want that to move, otherwise we get some derailments, which isn't always good, is it? So I can screw that in place, and I work my way back round, and I get the whole thing together. So I'm honestly really pleased with that. As you can see here, just space those sleepers back out, because they had condensed a little bit around the copper clad sleeper. But once that's done, you just work your way around, and it's easy enough. You can see it's nice and easy, and I'm sure if you don't like it, we can peel it back up and we start again. But putting these screws in will hold it in place, and I can just unscrew them later on to then reuse on something else. I found when using the hammer, it's fine, but a little bit stressful, and I'm always worried about hitting the track, whereas the screws, they offer some kind of comfortable factor, and just screw them in all the way over. Obviously we've got the gaps there as well. We need to put in some of these sleepers that I've got sitting here, and just to take up the gaps. That's one nice thing about having the bits you cut off. You can reuse them later on, but with them both on here, connecting it back up, I just want to make sure that it works, and things operate well. Obviously you've got my J15 sorry coming around here, but you can see it's looking nice. I'm pleased with it. I'm genuinely happy. So yeah, it's one of those things. The one thing that I do need to do, looking at all of this, see I've got like the darker colours here, I've got my polystyrene and all that kind of stuff. What I want to do is paint it grey. That will kind of look after things a bit more. You can see here I'm just popping in my little sleepers here. And now, yeah, using my Hornby magazine grey. It's number 215 if you want to know, from the I think it's B&Q range. Oh, I don't know. If you really want to know, yeah, Wix, there you go. 215. I've been asked a few times, what colour grey do I use? But this means that we can paint up everything that hasn't been worked on yet. So eventually, once all the grey's gone, we know that we've covered everything in intended colour. So I can add static grass where I need to, opposed to having browns that make me feel like it's half finished. I'd rather have it grey and really point out to me, come on Tristram, you need to get this finished, mate. So that's that. But anyway, really enjoyed it, and back to me in my little room. So you can see how that's building up nicely. So I've got the 4th radius going into what is 5th radius, then on the other side it's become, let's call it a 5th radius going into a 6th radius, as well as that bit of super elevation, so the coaches will have a bit of a slant as they go around the corner. Maybe I've done it too much. Since doing it, I might take a little bit of the super elevation off where it comes towards the lift out section, because the train, like an 060, is still pointing down a little bit on one of the bits as it's coming back down, and I get a little bit of a derailment on certain locos. So I might just chop a bit back and then we can put it back down and just maybe give it like 2 inches of where it's flatter, and then that means it will be fine. But really pleased with that. Actually, it kind of looks cool. It's not like it's at an angle like this, but it does have a slight slant as it goes round, which is nice. So with that done, after that I'll be ballasting it, but obviously I need to paint the sleepers and the track rails. I've done that on the other side before, but I've got some sleeper grime and I'm going to use that and then do something with the track, with the rails. I spoke to my brother and he's used some rusty rail colour, I guess, from Rail Match. So I need to get some of these colours, and I fancy having a go, make it look nice, but we'll just do that bit, and then once that's done I can start adding some fencing in, and then we can put some grass on. And honestly, it's going to be really good when I take a shot and I see the trains coming past. It's going to be nice. And when I'm just sitting there and I'm watching it, it's very therapeutic when you see it, especially with the greenery on there now. But everything being grey around it, like I've already talked about, now means that I've got that bit where anything grey kind of isn't finished. So that's great. Well, it's great and grey. And so then I can work through it. Whereas before I had kind of some brown board and all these different bits, and it kind of makes you feel like you've half made progress. It's half finished. Where if it's grey, that bit isn't finished. We need to add something to that and get it done. So that's my new thing in my head. Grey equals must finish this bit. So yeah. So the fun bit. Let's go see my dad. In the garage. The railway room is a place that I spent a lot of time when I was little, and I had a bit of the railway, and then my brother had a piece as well. My sister even had a little layout underneath part of the room. My mum's got a layout even on the end, so she's working on that. She's got an N gauge layout, but that's work in progress. But that all, apart from mum's bit, got changed. From where my brother's bit was and my bit, that all went away. And Dad's got some nice work going on there now, and so I'm looking forward to sharing this with you. We'll go see him, and it's been many months since I've seen him, so it was really nice to spend time with him. So thanks, Dad, for having me, and yeah, let's go have a look. Oh. So since I've last been at my dad's, we've had a few messages, and he sent me pictures of what he's been up to, and you've done quite a bit really, haven't you, with the embankment developments that you've been doing for a while. We'll go through that in a minute. You've got this drop down bit that you'd started before, and then there's what we would call a lift out section as well, which is great. So what I'd do is I'll pick the camera up and you can talk to us about it. Okay. So we'll start with what you've done here. It's a lot lower than it was, I think, when I last saw it. Yeah. Obviously you've got a step going up there. So what's your plan with all of this? I'm
going to have a road coming through. There's going to be a hill coming down from the left over there.
Okay.
Where all the junk is.
Yep.
And then a road comes sweeping through here. Mm-hmm. And off of the edge, and it sort of notionally would connect to this over here.
Yes.
I dropped this down because I thought it'd be look a lot better with an embankment, just with a sort of slope coming down, and then I'll have some sort of sloping, fields, sloping ground here.
I see.
A couple of cottages in there, and the road's just sort of sweeping through. What's
your plan for building that up? Like, what are you going to use?
I'm going to use sort of styrofoam or cardboard, whatever, and strips of cardboard, a bit like Pendon do. Because it's quite shallow. I thought do it that way with say the cardboard method.
Yeah, so you've got that thickness in my hand, kind of twice there.
So you haven't got to come down very far. If it was a large amount, say an embankment, then yes, you would use like polystyrene. So
on this you use polystyrene and
yes, yeah.
Okay.
That's all just polystyrene with hessian and then polyfiller and PVA mix.
Okay, we can see a bit here, can't we?
Oh yes.
So you've got the remnants hanging out. Badger. Hello. So once you've done that, you've got some other bits. Looks like you've got some track that looks like it could do with
got to get
some love.
Yeah, I bought one of those proses, isn't it? The Batman proses.
Okay.
The ballast hopper. So see how that goes.
Okay.
So there's quite a bit of track to
you do. Have a lot of track to do.
Yes.
Got some big stretches.
Yeah, quite a bit. Got one of those to see how it works.
Okay, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, it's down underneath, so
yes.
Get it out later.
That's fine.
Yes, and then I'm going to say start the static grass. I've done another coat of raw umber, which is more of an earth colour now. Before it was burnt umber, which was a sort of a more browny, a lighter colour.
I remember it was lighter, wasn't it?
So I've been over with a sort of a wash of the darker colour this afternoon, and it looks a lot better, more earthy colour, ready for when you do the static grass, where if it shows through, it will look the right colour.
That's right, and I think that will pop once you get that beautiful greenery on there.
Yes. So I've got quite a lot of different kinds of static grass, different makes, different shades, so
yes.
I can have a play.
That's excellent.
Start where it doesn't really show over the back or something, so if I'm not too happy, it doesn't matter too much. And then by the time I get to the front, it should be something I like.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
See, the big thing that I absolutely loved when we came in here today was we opened the door and we just walked straight in. And it was quite wonderful, and we're not going to demonstrate it right now, but we've got the lift out section, but you've had to do some other work at the same time, haven't you?
Yes, there's a lot of relaying of track. I've used your PC
spare ones kicking around.
Yeah, some there. You gave me some packets of the PC sleeper edge joiners.
That's good, so it helps you out with all this, doesn't it?
I've done it everywhere.
That's good.
They're both ends,
got them up here
as well.
Yeah.
I had to instead of doing it on the point though, to give me a bit more room, to get the angle of the track coming out of the tunnel a bit better, I moved the point up a bit, which meant I had to slit the point nearly at the frog. So I've moved the point half over the join. So that's the split. But yeah, otherwise it's I use these everywhere. So,
yes. That's great. I'm glad I could help you out with that.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, before I had some quite ugly sort of looking ones. Well, they worked.
Well, this will blend in a bit better now with what you've already got.
A great slab of circuit board and no detail on it, but here it's got all the sleepers and everything.
Yeah, because I sized it the same size as ones you've already got.
It's for like C&L.
Yeah, because the Code 100 stuff was much closer, wasn't it? Whereas this is more gappy.
Yes, so you've got it. It's SMP or C&L.
Yeah, for those that don't know that are into the hobby or getting into the hobby, I've got Code 100 on mine, which all the sleepers are quite close together, as well as the, let's call it, the daintiness of the track. On mine's chunkier, whereas yours is
that's Code 75, whereas yours is 100. So
that's right.
So
Dad's enjoying the kind of the finer scale of things. But you wouldn't be able to run an old triangle loco around to bounce off all your points.
But there's another layout for that.
Yeah. So that'd be for
tabletop one.
Yeah, that's right. So that's why these kind of, I don't know, I always find have a nicer look to them. But I run a few older locos, so works for me.
Yeah.
So with this lift out section, it's in more than one stage, isn't it? We can't just lift up and out.
Otherwise you'd crush the embankment if you tried lifting the whole thing up with a hinge.
That's right. Yeah, so you've got a separate top piece, which if you want to have a go at getting it off, no pressure.
Just lifts off like that.
Nice.
And you can't damage the track because of those.
Yeah.
Because previously, if that had been just all on the end of a bit of track, you'd rip the sleepers off. So.
Yes.
And don't need any connectors because I've got the track is joined. I've got 2 wires there off from the track.
They'll be hidden by ballast.
Yeah, they will. Yes, they will. Yeah. And then they come down to those 2 copper bits of PC board,
which then connect
to these battery. Out of a battery holder.
That's excellent.
Just lugs there.
So nice, simple and easy.
Yes, and it's got these dowels on here. Got 4 dowels.
I see. So you can pick nicely. I see. In here we've got some little
the dowels there.
Little socket parts of it. So that's great. So you pop it on each time in the same place.
And aligns it nicely.
So that's
Put
excellent.
that down there. Then all you need to do, otherwise, disconnect the.
So you've got.
There's a connector under there.
Just various wires.
Undo that.
Yep.
And I'm trying to find a connector. So I only need 12 ways.
Yes.
One that'll actually go in easily. Some connectors you've got to get really aligned in and they're a bit stiff.
Okay.
But there's a few that are, it's like the old Centronics type connectors for printers.
Right.
They've got a tapered, the male is tapered, so as it goes in, it guides itself in.
And it goes tight at the last moment.
Yes. Yes.
Great.
So you can get 24 pin versions of those.
Yeah.
Which I could have underneath. So you just drop it down, it automatically connects. You don't have to have a connector, but that's just being a bit OTT. Well, not OTT, but it's very nice.
You've got to make it nice for yourself, haven't you?
To do, but all you then need to do is just lift up.
That's brilliant. And then once it's up,
little bolt there.
That's excellent.
Hold it. But yes, that I've just got the connector there. But you could have something here to if it's located to.
Right, brilliant. So you just drop it down, it plugs in. That's it.
Drop itself in.
That's excellent.
But
so what kind of connector is that you've got there?
I think Scenics is the make. It's I think it's about a 5 amp, just a plug and socket.
Yes.
But you can get lots of different sizes of them. But it's quite stiff putting it in.
Yeah. Just going to show you the viewers your wonderful wiring.
Yes, it looks a bit of a mess at the moment. I've ripped out. There were some connectors in here. I used to have a controller that's straddled across here.
Yes.
Which I've sort of half taken apart. Hence, that's why there's a duet there.
Yeah. How old is this controller?
Oh, probably 20, 30 years old.
Wow.
I think.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but it still works nicely.
Yeah. Was it popular during the day, or was it?
Yes. They were. You had just the basic Hornby ones at the time, or Triang, or whatever. Yeah. It's just a variable resistor one, but they've got some other bits on there. You can have high resistance and half wave and things to give you better control.
I see. That's excellent.
It does work quite nicely still. But anyway, I'm going to have, instead of a large panel there, again, it's this ease of getting lifting the thing up and straight there. There'll be a panel similar size to that that will be screwed onto here. No weight or anything.
Excellent.
And then the transformers are already on there.
Yes, I saw them.
So it'll be a matter. I've got another board that goes in between where the actual the electronics of the controllers will be underneath here, but they'll just plug in. So you have a socket, and you put whichever controller you want to use, a comp speed or a DC type one, even DCC you could use.
Excellent.
Have an option for that. So you just plug the one in underneath here, and then the controls here will work. Any of them, well, the analog controllers anyway. The DCC, you'll have a separate handset, but again, that will just plug in underneath. That's my idea anyway, so it's coming along gradually. But I can show you what I've done of the other bits later.
Okay.
It just needs wiring up now, so I think that's about it. So it's watch this space really.
Brilliant. Well, we'll come back and hopefully it will look all green and grassy and
hopefully next time control will be in and the grass will be down and hopefully ballasted as well.
Oh yeah.
What do you think? It's going to be good, don't you think, with all that grass work that we built up around it? You know, it's really great that I could see that, and I think it's going to be wonderful once he's done all of it. There's a lot of work to be done, a lot of ballasting. You know, there's a lot of track there, a lot of ballast to be done on that track, so that'd be fun. I want to say a big thank you to my patrons and my channel members. Your names are here on the left and right hand side. It's really appreciated, the support that you give me, and it's nice to be able to share with you what I do. It's good because I could do some behind the scenes bits and drop in here and there, and that'll build as time goes by. Also, if you're interested, check out my Instagram page. I put bits and bobs on that of stuff that I'm not necessarily going to put on one of these videos that you might find interesting, projects I might be getting up to, all that kind of thing. So check out O'Neil on Instagram, as well as I'm on Facebook as well, but Instagram seems to be a bit more accessible for people, so yeah, check that out. But anyway, thank you for watching. As always, it's been a pleasure to come and chat to you all. I always enjoy reading the comments back, so please leave a comment, let me know what you thought. I always appreciate whether it's positive or negative. Generally positive criticism, so like, you know, if something could be a nice colour green, maybe point me in the direction of this colour green, you know. So yeah, I really appreciate all the feedback, and give me a thumbs up if you liked it, I guess a thumbs down if you didn't. Anyway, take care, look after yourselves, and enjoy kind of the year that's coming. Hopefully we just have a much nicer year this year, and enjoy what is coming. See you soon. Bye.